Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy. It is June 29th, 2023, Thursday morning. We're standing next to the Polderbaan. Currently the only runway, I believe, in use for arrivals. Although, while I was setting up, 18 Center was also open. Look at this. What a way to begin the stream. The Eintracht special livery from SunExpress. And isn't it a nice one? Giving us a nice ass shot. This was SunExpress arriving from Konya in the Eintracht Frankfurt special livery. I was hoping I was gonna catch it someday. It already visited Schiphol a few weeks ago, but it was in the evening and I wasn't able to be out there to stream. So a nice first catch of a hopefully promising morning. As you guys can see, it is overcast right now. At the moment it is still dry. It is expected that in the afternoon rain is going to come in from the west, so buienradar needs to be monitored on a regular basis. Although the extrapolations of the weather radar do predict that it is going to stay dry until after 1 o'clock, my intention, weather permitting, is to stick around until the arrival of the Emirates A380, which is expected to be arriving around 1 p.m. local time, so that is in 3.5 hours from now. I already see a lot of people in the chat. Good morning to all. Let me say hi to you individually in a moment because it is Queen time. I also found out that I can use a preset in manual focus. Really handy. So if I put infinity as a preset and switch to manual focus, I can immediately focus in on airplanes in the distance. Really handy. Thinking that might also come in handy during twilight conditions. Maybe something worth testing in the nearby future. Cargolux, first queen of the day. Fantastic beginning of the show this morning. So this was Cargolux arriving from Nairobi, 747-400. She's 20 years old. First flight was in August 2002, so not the oldest of 747s, but definitely not the youngest. Now, let me say good morning to Kuni and Rowenda and Marius. Cafe Spotter, good morning my friend, good to see you again. Paul from Leiden, goedemorgen. Veldi, guten Morgen. Or morgen. Remco, goedemorgen kerel. Edi Boskesiel Jr. Good evening or good afternoon, checking in from Indonesia once again. Hope you're doing well my friend. As you guys can see over here, it is overcast. It isn't cold though. Around 20 degrees Celsius. or around 17 degrees Fahrenheit. Good morning, me, myself. 68 Twig. Roy, goedemorgen. Dave, good morning. Gosse, goedemorgen, kerel. Paul Doan, good morning. Elton, good morning. Jorn, goedemorgen. Patrick from Antwerp, goedemorgen. No time to waste. The next heavy is already touching down. Now with that SunExpress, beautiful special livery, I think I might already have a thumbnail in mind. KLM B777-200 arriving from Tel Aviv. Next up, the next heavy is a Finnair A350. Let's see if we can spot it already. Visually I can see it, and there you guys should be able to see it as well. Goedemorgen Michelle, and goedemorgen, good morning Strains, who says love your streams, man. Thank you so much for your kind words. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the content. I do my utmost best to give you the best quality I can. Let me quickly take off my vest. It is a bit in between weather, where standing here exposed to the wind, it can get a little bit chilly. Dare I say it, with 20 degrees Celsius. Standing still. So I have a vest with me, but putting on the vest is too warm. And I'd much rather be a little bit too cold than a little bit too warm right now. As soon as my hands start getting cold, I will put on the vest again, but it's said that it's going to be 20 to 25 degrees Celsius today, so it's even going to warm up even more. Very clammy. As you guys can see, it's overcast, really high humidity. I was actually hoping we might see some cloud fluff, some wing fluff, but so far we haven't seen any wing condensation. Maybe later in the morning, if relative humidity might increase a bit further as the rain gets nearer by. Finnair A350-900 arriving from Helsinki, standard livery. Good morning, Jerry, Belinda, photo for you, Ewald. Awesome, so many familiar names already tuning in so early in the morning. Goedemorgen, Aaron, good morning. John O'May, good morning. Sander Kuik, goedemorgen. Asking, can you also get to that place where you're standing? Zonder uit waar je nu staat. Kun je ook op die plek komen zonder uit waar je nu staat en bij die parkeerplek of garage? I'm not exactly getting your question, Sander. This is a normally accessible area where you can go to walking from the parking place that is the official Spottersplatz Polderbaan. The official parking place for the Spottersplatz Polderbaan is behind this tree. If you walk away from the parking place and take a right, you can follow the cycling path that is over here. And this is just publicly accessible grassland. Alright. The next airplane is a CRJ 900. It is SAS flight 2551 arriving from Copenhagen after a flight of 1 hour and 4 minutes. The airplane is 7 years old. Its first flight was in April 2016. I think we might be getting a look at its bum. Taking the first exit. So this is a spot where you are in line with the first exit of the runway. And you can see the airplanes nicely from behind, directly from behind in fact. In the meantime, I saw a nice super chat from NPM Aviation saying good morning from Switzerland. Good morning to you too, NPM Aviation. Thank you so much for your kind donation. Hope everything is well over there in Switzerland. Remco also a super chat. Thank you so much, Remco, and good morning once again. Awesome meeting you the other day. Let me quickly go around with the camera because I think the ticker needs updating in terms of the actual runway usage. Everything seems to be coming to Polderbound right now. Everything arriving, that is. This one, a short flight arriving from Brussels, Embraer 175. So these airplanes have to prepare, the pilots in these flights have to prepare for landing almost immediately after takeoff. As soon as the gear is up, they can already start preparing for landing. That's how short the flight is. 20 minutes or so. We're talking about maybe 200 miles, 300 kilometers as the crow flies. Maybe even less. And Jorn asks, what's your favorite aircraft actually? Mine is the A350. Well, as it happens, I do also like the A350 a whole lot. When it comes to modern passenger airplanes, I think it's the A350 and the A220 that I like the most. When it is generally more broader, of course, the 747 is in a league of its own. And if you widen the scope to military aircraft, particularly fighters, I would say that the F-14 Tomcat is my favorite fighter jet. All right, now we'll soon see another big bird. Me myself already asking most important question, where are the ducks? En goedemorgen Danny vanuit het oosten, checking in from the east of the country. And Jerry, thank you so much for your kind super chat. Spottersplek Polderbaan, indeed. And Sander says, I actually mean, can you also get to the spotter places without car? Because you have to do everything with public transportation. Well, I think in the last stream, someone also asked if this place is accessible with public transportation. And it has to be, but there are other people more knowledgeable about this topic than I am, because I always come everywhere by car. So I know that it has to be possible. I know that there's a bus stop very nearby the Spottersplaats near the McDonald's. And you can actually go there from the Schiphol train station. There's a bus stop in front of the terminal building that brings you to the bus stop next to the McDonald's. Don't ask me which line you have to take. You can also try I think you can also try the app 9292ov.nl or the website, where you can just say where you want to go from and where you want to go to, and then the app will say the different options for public transportation to get there. Guten Morgen, Benjamin. Great overcast today here in northern Germany. Looks exactly the same as in Amsterdam. Yeah, I'm afraid that it is a bit different from what it was the other day. And Paul, thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge, my friend. Thank you so much for your support. Oh, and Gisela is making us jealous because in southern Germany it is sunny. So Benjamin and I are having bad luck over here in the north, both in the Netherlands and Germany. Now let me quickly go back. We saw an A330-200 arrive from Kuwait City just now. Incoming now is a Dreamliner in the 100 years livery, KLM flight 872, Boeing 787-10 Dreamliner, arriving from Delhi in India after 8 hours and 51 minutes. And this is a 4-year-old Dreamliner. Reverse thrust that you hear there, really well audible. We haven't had any significant serious competitors for the wheelie competition yet. I did see a beautiful wheelie from an A330 from Delta as I was walking up here preparing to set up, but yeah, obviously that doesn't count. We'll have to wait and see if other airplanes later this morning can show us something impressive. Goedemorgen Tiemen. Of is het Tijmen? Probably Tiemen. And Jean-Yves, salut, good morning my friend. Comment ça va aujourd'hui? Remco is saying I have to go onto the road in a minute, but I'm hearing that there are some tractors on the way to The Hague. I did hear on the news that there were a few underway, I think more in the center of the country, so I'm not sure if you need to go towards the Randstad, Remco, because then you might run into them. In the Netherlands, for a while now, there is this discussion about nitrogen depositions and what we need to do to reduce it, because we cannot build anything anymore and the whole country supposedly grinds to a halt. So apparently the agricultural sector supposedly is a big contributor to the nitrogen problem. So there is the government and all kinds of organizations are busy trying to devise a plan to reduce nitrogen so that we can build again and live our lives. And there was a plan in the making, and one of the parties pulled back out of the meetings. I think it was last week or so. So that means now our government has to go to the drawing board and devise a plan themselves. And today there is a debate in our government office, where our government has to explain to Congress, the equivalent of Congress, why the discussions did not go through, why the plans were not successful, why they now have to go back to the drawing board and make something up themselves. And the farmers are not happy with that, so they announced, or at least some groups announced, that they were going to put on drive to The Hague with their tractors to protest. So we've had that happen before. Maybe you guys abroad saw it on the news that farmers in their tractors were pulling towards The Hague, where our national government is residing, over the highways, causing major traffic infarctions. And it looks like that is going to happen again today. Turkish Airbus A330-300 arriving from Istanbul. Anyway, good morning Janus and good morning Nelson Miranda. I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Hope you're doing well as well. Over here it is overcast, as you guys can see, but don't think for a minute that it is cold right now. It is around 20 degrees Celsius and it's going to get even a bit warmer, up to 25 degrees Celsius, so that is 70 degrees right now, up to 80 degrees when talking about Fahrenheit. The prevailing wind is blowing from the southwest. We have rain coming in later today, coming in from the west, supposedly arriving in the afternoon in the west. For now, everything seems to remain dry until at least 1 p.m. Weather permitting, my intention is to stick around until 1 p.m. for the arrival of the Emirates A380, even though chances are it is going to land on runway 18 center, as it has been doing so often already. And good morning MGS Aviation. Easyjet A320 arriving from Manchester, foregoing the first exit. And Begum Sen, good morning. Thanks for broadcasting, man. You always make my day. Here she says, thank you so much for your kind words. I'm happy that I can make you happy with my streams. Jerry asks, are the tractors electric? They certainly are not. No, that's... I'm not sure if they even exist with the weight that you need to pull. Not sure if that's feasible. Probably will be, but not sure. Timon is saying that the Orange Pride is expected in an hour. That is very good news. It seems that they have fixed everything up and they took it back into service again. En Erik van Balen says morgen. Morgen Erik. Alles goed? En milk intolerance says butter. Be careful. If you're intolerant to milk, you might also be intolerant to butter, aren't you? Well, Hans-Joachim, guten Morgen. Hope you're doing well. Bjarni Oost, goedemorgen. Hope everybody is doing well. Over here it is overcast but not cold. Dry, but it is expected to get a little wet later in the day. Let's see. Was looking on Flight Radar to see what is coming. Multitasking, always difficult. You quickly lose focus on the airplane. This is an Embraer 190 that is arriving from London City. No reverse thrust by the looks of it. All quiet, with the exception of the brakes. And bum shot coming in. There you go. Spoilers lowered. Flaps will probably retract in a minute. Or are they already retracting? Bit hard to see. Next up is going to be a KLM Boeing 737-800 that is arriving from Paris Charles de Gaulle. Hey Eddie, goedemorgen. Checking in from Almere, a bit to the east of where I am standing. So this is KLM flight 1224 arriving from Paris Charles de Gaulle. Always a short flight, not as short as from Brussels, but still relatively short. 39 minutes of flying time right now. The airplane is 22 years old and had its first flight in August 2000. Check it out, a wheelie from a 737. And a nice one. Ooh. Ooh. Still up. Yeah. Okay, the bar is set, ladies and gentlemen. And not by an A330 or a 777, but by a bleeping 737. Absolutely, Dave, 9.5 at least. Saving tires, definitely. What a nice one. Did not expect to see that from a 737. Nice to see that they can also produce nice wheelies. Hey, bonjour Donna. And Pitcairn, goedemorgen. From Cape Spain. Tom is saying Beluga flying over Zeeland. Well, unfortunately my zoom is not that impressive that I can zoom into that. Also, as you guys can see, visibility is also impeded. I did witness a farm vehicle getting filled with, I think, manure for feeding the ground or something, although they don't seem to be doing that because that rear bit is still elevated and not lowered. In fact, the truck that was filling the container that they were pumping it out of is still standing there. You cannot see the cylindrical container behind the truck itself, but believe me, it's there. Now, unfortunately, I was already seeing the firefighters doing their patrol round as I was driving up here, even before walking up here and setting up, so we're not going to see that, unfortunately. Now, Let's see. Airplanes are coming, but we have to wait just a little bit. What an impressive beginning of the stream. Within the first 10 minutes, the first airplane. If you just tuned in, ladies and gentlemen, go look back the stream. Now you have a few minutes before the next air traffic will come live. It is a very nice Eintracht Frankfurt special livery from SunExpress. Pretty sure I'm going to make that the thumbnail of the stream. Really awesome livery that you don't see very often. And also a nice 747. All within the first 10 minutes. Now in the water there is a bird. There are two birds, in fact. Didn't see the second one in the foreground just now, only when zooming in. It is hiding a little bit. So it looks like a pair of ducks. Also looking around in the water to see if there are other birds present right now, but there aren't, unfortunately. And Hans says, shame about the overcast. The beluga is nearly right over my house now. They are awesome. Ah, it's Mama Duck and her, well, if you can still call them ducklings. Are there just 3 left? I think there were more the other day. Last time we saw them here. Having breakfast. Anyway, goedemorgen Jackie and Maurice. Good morning to you both. Aphrodite, goedemorgen, good morning. Timon is saying that the Norwegian Air 737-800 Helge Ingstad livery is next. There's also another SAS CRJ coming in. I can see that there's a 777-300ER arriving from Johannesburg that is now flying near Castricum. From the east we can see an Embraer 190 arriving from Prague. KLM Embraer. Me myself is saying Atlas 747 ETA 1020, so in 20 minutes, just over 20 minutes from now, the second queen of the day. It's promising to be a nice, that it's going to be a nice morning. Hopefully it's going to stay dry until the Emirates A380 will arrive. It is a standard livery today. And it is expected around 1 PM local time, a few minutes before. Not sure if we're going to see it up close. That's always something that you need to hope for the best for. Now I did see, I was just about to say, I did just vaguely see the next airplane in the distance, and now you do too. So this is Norwegian, and it says Helge Ingstad livery. The picture on Flight Radar shows a regular livery Norwegian, so I'm curious to see which one it is going to be. Norwegian arriving from Copenhagen, 737-800. Flight time at the moment 56 minutes, and this airplane is 12 years old. First flight was in May 2011. And it seems like this special livery is not so special. That's a good question, Maurice. Is Norwegian still flying the Dreamliner? I don't think they are coming with a Dreamliner to Amsterdam anymore. At least I cannot recall having seen that in recent days. Not sure if they fly with Dreamliners to other destinations. Maybe someone in the chat knows that with more certainty. But it's a good question. Next up is going to be a CRJ from SAS. Now, can I see it visually already? I don't. Oh yeah, I think I do now. Can I also show you guys is the question. There it is. Right. So this is SAS flight 1553 CRJ 900 long range. Arriving from Stockholm after a flight of 1 hour and 38 minutes. About to touch down in a few minutes. This airplane, 7 years old, had its first flight in May 2016. The pilots obviously not competing in the wheelie competition. Oh, for a moment I thought we had James May in the chat. James Mayle, good morning. Right. Next up, Embraer 190 arriving from Prague. And after that, 777-300 arriving from Johannesburg. You're right, Dave. That 737 wheelie is going to be tough to beat. It was impressive even for... It was already impressive, but even if it had been done by a A330 or a 777, it would have been impressive. Not sure if we're going to see it beat today. Right, up next, 777-300 ER arriving from Johannesburg after 10 hours and 23 minutes of flight. This is KLM flight 592 and this airplane is 11 years old. First flight of this airplane was in June 2012. I guess news travels fast within the company and the pilots weren't even going to try to compete in the wheelie competition today. They thought, nah, F it. We're not going to beat that 737. Good morning, Mizam, and good morning, Denise Bastos. Bom dia, checking in from Brazil. Peter, good day, checking in from down under. Hopefully some more wheelies. I missed that one. Well, I'm going to timestamp it after I'm done streaming. Definitely worth having a look at. Not sure, it was, I think, within the first 10 or 15 minutes of the stream. We started the show with a big bang. Special livery, a very awesome special livery as first airplane. The first Queen within 10 minutes. I think the third plane. So, that was really awesome. Up next, Airbus A320 arriving from Oslo. SAS flight 821. Flight time 1 hour 33 minutes. And the airplane's age is 4 years. So the truck that I think was delivering manure just passed by of the cycling path. You guys might have picked up on that. And we're thinking, what is this Neo sounding strange? Now you can see the tank that was behind it, or is behind it. Not sure what it's going to do. I think you are... Well, I'm not sure if you're able to reach the public road after... at the end of the cycling path. I'm hoping for the bloke that you can go back onto the public road. Otherwise, either he has to turn or reverse all the way. I would like to see that. Reversing along the runway length. Right, next up, United Airlines flight 968. Arriving from San Francisco. Boeing 7879 Dreamliner. Underway now for 9 hours and 34 minutes. This airplane is 7 years old and had its first flight in August 2015. Hey Wendy, goedemorgen. Alles goed? Good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. Indeed a shitty job. Felt a little spider walking over my arm. Don't know how it got there, but looks like we're getting a butt shot from the Dreamliner. Nice. Well, Klaus, guten Morgen, good morning. Thomas Schwartz, good morning. Yillard, goedemorgen. Informing us that the Saudia Cargo 747 will be landing within 30 minutes. And I really thought it was a spider there, hon, but now you're making me doubt. It was probably a spider. Anyway, it was just walking. It wasn't sucking on me or something. It wasn't biting. Just saw it from the corner of my eye without even feeling it so much. So a gentle blow, and it is now playing in the grass again. Easyjet arriving from London Gatwick. Up next is Croatia Airlines A319 arriving from Zagreb. And dare I say it, it looks like it's opening up a little bit behind me. The sky looks a bit brighter than it did before. Now I'm not going to become too optimistic. I have seen the weather radar. Also something to keep in check. Hopefully no shower formation out of nothing all of a sudden. That's always a downside. Shower formation is something you cannot extrapolate and predict beforehand. But I think it's just normal, slow, gradual rain that is creeping in from the west. Expected in the afternoon. Here we have Croatia Airlines. It is in the Star Alliance livery, flight 450, arriving from Zagreb, A319, 1 hour 39 minutes underway. The airplane, 24 years old, first flight was in May 1999. A millennial. Also taking the first exit over here. But I'm going to quickly turn around the camera, try to capture as much of the next queen as possible. Still a bit out there, but coming in close real quickly. There we go. Focus to infinity. Boom, in one go. Locked in. Second queen of the day, ladies and gentlemen, Boeing 747-400 Atlas Air MPH. That was Martin Air Cargo's call sign, if I'm not mistaken. Flight 6912, arriving from Miami, Florida. 8 hours and 9 minutes underway. Boeing 747 freighter. 26 years old, first flight January 1997. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Well, is it just me, or did they not apply any reverse thrust during their landing? If they did, it was a very quiet application. I'm pretty sure that they didn't apply any reverse thrust. I'm pretty sure, Jerry, that our cocaine comes in by port via Rotterdam and via Antwerp. Smuggling coke by plane is so 1980s. But we don't do that anymore these days. That's old school. Okay, so it was open, 4 reversers were visible. Yeah, but were they audible? I didn't hear a lot of it. Maybe I've gone deaf with hearing so many heavies landing right in front of me. That's probably it. I'm probably just turning deaf. Or I'm used to more impressive sounds during the application of reverse thrust. They used the silencer. That must be it, Jackie. Here we have El Al flight 337 arriving from Tel Aviv, Boeing 737-900. Not the gentlest of landings. Curious how this sounded for you guys, because in all honesty this 737 sounded more impressive with their thrust reversers applied than the preceding 747, to be honest. Hey Peppy Servus, nice to see you again. Hope you're doing well over there in Innsbruck. Right. Hey, ciao Luca, come stai oggi? We are turning around the camera because planes, simple. Next up is going to be British Airways flight 430 arriving from London Heathrow, and behind it is going to be a Dreamliner. Let's see, here is the Speedbird flight 430 arriving from London Heathrow, 45 minutes of flight, 15-year-old airplane, June 2008 first flight. Oh wow, the sun is even trying to come out from behind the clouds. Check it out. Brightening up over here. Quickly back to the next upcoming traffic though. We can recognize immediately what airplane type this is. 7879 Dreamliner, KLM flight 741 arriving from Cartagena. 9 hours and 21 minutes of flying time, 4 years old this airplane. Okay, wheelie competition. Competitor. Well, I think it is going to be a competition for who's going to be the runner-up today. This didn't come close to the awe-inspiring 737 landing. To paraphrase the IT crowd, A landing the like of which the world has never seen the like of which. And Erik is informing us that in 27 minutes the Orange Pride is going to land. Hey, Aviation Dutch Vlogs, goedemorgen. Doing well, thank you for asking. Hope you're doing well as well. Nick's Aviation, morning from London. Good morning, Nick. What's the weather like over there in London? Over here it is 20 degrees Celsius and overcast, as you can see, with rain predicted in the PM over here. Wind is blowing from the south, by the way, southwest-ish. Not too hard. And dare I say it, the sun is even trying to come around from behind the clouds. And you're right, Dave, it have been the KLM pilots so far that have been setting the bar for the wheelies. Not a lot. It's not an international competition so far, unfortunately. Would be nice if the foreign competitors would also compete. Right, A320neo arriving from Prague. Behind it an E2 Embraer 195 arriving from Berlin. Easyjet Neo forgoing the first exit. Okay, now next up, two airplanes that have some similarities in their profile. First up, an E2 Embraer 195. After that, a 777-200 arriving from New York JFK. Now both have massive engines compared to their fuselage diameter, although I think, and now we can have a back-to-back comparison, I think we've had this discussion in the chat before a few times. Which airplane has the biggest diameter wing diameter engines versus fuselage diameter? Is it the E2 Embraer 195 or is it the 777? Now I'm thinking that the 777-200 that is coming in after this E2 has even a bit smaller engines than the 777-300, but at least we can have a bit of a comparison. Oh. Ooh. That winding down also sounds similar to the GE90s. That is something I didn't notice before, haven't noticed before. In the meantime, Jolande, goedemorgen, checking in from Groningen, the north of the Netherlands. Saying thank you for the beautiful images. Well, thank you so much for your kind words. I'm doing my best. I'm glad you're enjoying. If you're new to the channel, welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boy. You're watching arrivals on the Polderbaan. Runway 18 left. And this is KLM flight 644, 777-200, arriving from New York JFK. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm thinking that the E2 has bigger engines relative to the fuselage diameter. Not sure if that also holds true for the 777-300 that has even slightly bigger engines, if I'm not mistaken. This is a 200, but the difference is not so big that I think it's going to make for a different outcome. And this airplane just touched down after 6 hours and 20 minutes of flight from New York JFK to Amsterdam Schiphol. This airplane, 19 years old, first flight was in December 2003. Warren G, good morning, checking in from Atlanta. Good morning, my friend. Good to see you again. Glad you're enjoying the show. Thanks for letting us know. Jelmer, goedemorgen. Brian, good morning. Anoop, good morning, checking in from Liverpool. Morning, mate. Where is the birth controller? Jerry's asking. I did see K1 pass by me earlier in the morning. I'm not sure. I'm thinking it should be on this side of the runway, although I don't see it anywhere right now. I did see it pass me by in that direction to the north. Looking behind me. Oh wait, I think I have the birth controller. The birth controller is giving some labor to the birds, perhaps, or maybe just having a coffee break on a quiet spot, don't know. Bit in the middle of nowhere. So the bird controller is over there. Looks like the VW, so that's I think K1. Next up, A350 for arriving from Atlanta, Georgia. Delta Airlines flight 74. Touching down in a minute after 7 hours and 35 minutes of flight. This airplane is 6 years old. First flight was in September 2016. Big sounds from a beautiful machine. And to me also this sounded louder than that last 747. But we are expecting a third one in a minute, so let's see how much sound that is going to make. SkyQuest Drone says goedemorgen from Vancouver, Canada. Good morning to you too, mate. You're up early, or still late, as is Jerry. All on the west coast of United States, North America, Canada. Strange says good morning from Rotterdam. Remco, goedemorgen from Nieuwerbrug in the Netherlands. Steve88, good morning my friend. Have a nice day. Thank you, you too my friend. Okay, Eric is saying that the runway 18 center is now also opened. That is not good news, but let's see how it works out. Sooner or later it had to happen. Saves me from updating the ticker. That's the silver lining, I guess. A319 from Lufti, arriving from Frankfurt. Also a short flight. Bump shot coming in. With the spoilers already lowered. And you can see the flaps retracting. Nice to see from over here. Going up. Right, now. Let's see. Erik also informing us that the Transavia with the Peter Pan livery is inbound. What you think of the wheelie at 9:52 there, Mark? Impressive, wasn't it? Especially considering it was a 737. Okay, Jackie, see you later, alligator. Next up, ITA Airways, arriving from Milan. Now, whether it is cloudy or the sun is out, that shade of blue always looks nice to me. Not sure how you guys feel about it. I like that shade of blue. Perhaps even a bit better than KLM's blue. Hey there, Jamie. Is it very wet in East London? Is that the rain that is coming over here in the afternoon? Hopefully not. So, let's see. Next up, 737-800 arriving from Copenhagen, KLM. This is a textbook KLM landing. Keeping up the speed. Exiting late. Making the time back to the gate as short as possible. If you're new to the channel and you're new to Schiphol Airport, then you have to know that this runway is furthest removed from the main platform area. And this airplane still has a 10-minute taxi at least back to the gate. This is the latest addition to the network of runways of Schiphol Airport. The main platform area is in the back, and vaguely visible is the main control tower, and that's also where the terminal building and the gates are. Now, you can already see with current visibility you wouldn't be able to see anything from over there that is going on over here. That is why this runway has its dedicated ATC control tower over here. Station also dedicated for this runway and this area of the platform area. Delta A330, 300, arriving from Minneapolis, flight 162. So this Delta A330 arriving from Minneapolis after 7 hours and 19 minutes of flight. This airplane is 15 years old. First flight was in July 2007. And GAXSTY is informing us that the KLM Orange Pride livery is coming in from Cape Town in 12 minutes. So don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to see a very nice 777-300, the PHBVA, the Orange Pride KLM. Before that, we will see Transavia 737-700 arriving from Ljubljana, in Slovenia. Flight 6820. One of their short 737-700s. This airplane underway now for an hour and 32 minutes according to flight radar. The airplane's age 20 years. First flight was in March 2003. GAXSTY has an easier name, Arush. Thank you so much for letting me know, Arush. That is indeed easier to say. Now there's also a Transavia in the Peter Pan livery underway. So it is promising to be an exciting morning. It already began with a blast with a beautiful SunExpress 737 in a very special livery. If you missed it, check out the beginning of the stream. The first airplane arriving, already a banger. I think it's going to become the thumbnail of the stream. Now 2 Queens already, third one underway, Orange Pride in a minute. Weather permitting, I'm sticking around until around 1 p.m. when the daily Emirates A388 Super is expected to arrive from Dubai. And Jerry, I have a birth controller. Oh no, that's not a birth controller. No, that's a regular vehicle. That's not a pickup truck. That's a different vehicle. Let's see. Is that a Vauxhall? Oh, looks like a VW. No, Opel. Vauxhall. Alright. LVNL. Luchtverkeersleiding. Air traffic control. A319. Lufthansa arriving from Munich. Well, and they are certainly not playing along in the wheelie competition. Well, the 747 is getting closer by. It's not going to land on the Polderbaan, but we are going to be able to see it. On this runway first is the Peter Pan livery Transavia. Ooh, and what day of the week is that, Arush? July 11th? Let me see. 737, Peter Pan livery, Transavia. Here we go. The Peter Pan Vakantieclub, holiday club. 737-800 arriving from Barcelona. 1 hour and 51 minutes of flight time. This airplane is 10 years old. First flight March 2013. And in the meantime, for center, we have this Saudia flight arriving from Jeddah. Saudia Cargo Flight 933, Boeing 747-400, arriving from Jeddah after 5 hours and 30 minutes of flying. That sounds short. This 747 is 28 years old. First flight was in December 1994. I think I was in my first year of high school then. All right, now arriving next, KLM Flight 1002, Boeing 737-700, arriving from London Heathrow. And this is a 12-year-old airplane that had its first flight in February 2011. Tuesday, the 11th of July. I always have to work on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, so unfortunately I will not be able to stream on that day then. That's a pity. Normally I would have gladly tried to film you, but Tuesdays and Wednesdays are always the days that I cannot go out to live stream. Right, now Orange Pride KLM on its way to land, coming from Cape Town. Let's see. Looks like there are now a couple of narrow bodies that are going to center. Let's see what they're going to do. And even though it is overcast, I also have to think about staying hydrated. Okay, well, if Flight Radar is accurate, then the first plane to arrive is going to be a Boeing 737-800 arriving from Paris Charles de Gaulle. And the Orange Pride Dreamliner is turning base and is going to come this way. K1 in the VW just passed by. Hey, more trucks. Interesting. More manure deliveries, I think. So we already saw one truck pass us by, a second one is going to do that just now, and there is a third one over there near that blue container that is probably delivering cargo. The wind is also picking up, so we are literally in a shitstorm now. Alright, and Timon is confirming that the Orange Pride will definitely land on Polderbaan. That is good news indeed. Before that, we're going to see a 737-800 arriving from Paris Charles de Gaulle. Don't have it visual just yet. I do see an airplane going to center. Is that Tarom A318? Yep. No, A318. Did I say 19? This is an A318 arriving from Bucharest. Tarom flight 361. the daily flight from Bucharest to Amsterdam. This airplane is 16 years old. First flight was in November 2006. And also a brand new A320neo from ITA Airways landing in 7 minutes, Steven is saying. So that is excellent. Donna says, hey boy, my interaction will be limited today. However, wish you and all the guys a great day of spotting. Well, thank you so much for that, Donna. I'm always happy to have you on the stream. Thanks for joining once again. Even if your interaction is a bit more limited today. I'm always happy to have you on the stream. So this is KLM flight 1228, arriving from Paris Charles de Gaulle 737-800. 3-year-old airplane. Ooh, and that was bumpy. Main landing gear touchdown and then bumping up into the sky again. Maybe the pilot should take a master class from his co-worker who did that superb wheelie. Or maybe they were just field testing the suspension of the main landing gear. Time for a gas mask. Well, to be honest, the wind is blowing in this direction from over there. I do smell a bit of manure right now, but not too much. It's not gas mask necessary. The gas mask isn't necessary yet. It's not so severe, luckily, but I do smell it a little bit, honestly. Right, well, another little creature on my arm. This time around, before blowing it away, I did have a closer look. It looked like a spider, but it was a really small one. Not sure if it was a tick then, perhaps, but I blew it off my arm before it could interact with me, so to speak. Ah, so that's it, Dave. The name, hence the name City Hopper. It all starts to make sense now. So this is the PHBVA, the 777-300 ER Orange Pride livery, arriving from Cape Town, KLM flight 598, 10 hours and 46 minutes of flight time, 15-year-old airplane. First flight January 2008. Let's see if it can produce a nice wheelie. Hey, and good morning, Larry. How are you doing today? Good to see you again, mate. Thanks for joining. Hey, Nelly, goedemorgen. It was a smooth landing, wasn't it? KLM so far indeed stealing the show. Then again, they do have to represent their home turf, don't they? If you just joined us, welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boy and we are standing next to the Polderbaan, which is currently one of the 2 runways in use for landings The wind is blowing from the south. These airplanes are coming in from the north, landing to the south. The wind is blowing from the south, southwest. Not too hard, just a few knots. You can see a few ripples in the water over here. It's nothing to write home about. Not a lot of crosswind, so no serious crabbing going on. At the moment it is overcast, as you guys can see. It is dry still, but it is expected to rain later in the day. So weather radar has to be checked. I'm now showing you guys the west. This is where the rain is coming from later in the day. At the moment it is still dry. And it's expected to stay dry until at least 1 p.m, which is when the daily Emirates A380 Super is expected to land from Dubai. I'm sticking around, weather permitting, until then. Hopefully by then runway 18 center, which is now also used for arrivals, will be closed so that we can see the landing of the A380 up close. This is showing north. Doing another quarter turn, this is looking to the east. And another quarter turn makes this looking to the south. Now there is an A320neo from ITA Airways arriving for runway 18 center. While we're waiting for the next airplane to arrive for 18 right where we are standing next to. Let me show you guys that airplane as soon as I see it. I have it on weather radar, on flight radar, but I don't have it visual just yet. But that's just a matter of time. Hey Yorkshire, good morning. Good to see you. Come to think of it, we have our first moderator on board. we've had to manage without so far. You missed a great beginning, Yorkshire. If you wind back or just look back to the first 10 minutes, you'll see a beautiful special livery from SunExpress, the very first airplane of the stream. I'm thinking about making that the thumbnail of the show. And we've had 2 747s so far. And the first one was, I think, the third airplane. It was also within the first 10 minutes. And we also saw a tremendously impressive wheelie from a KLM 737 of all airplane types. Was really long. That spider or tick seems to have... seems like it's on an elastic or something. Was already another one on my arm. Well, better that than those beetles that were bugging me and were also... I think you could even hear them the other day when they were bugging me. When they were nestling on the dead cat of my shotgun mic on the camera, I thought I could hear them buzz. Interesting if you're making a wildlife documentary. Not so much if you're doing a live stream for aviation. Whoa. Alright, Air Malta looks like the next airplane to arrive on the Polderbaan. Before we'll see it, there is an A321 coming in from Athens, Aegean Air. Let's see, Aegean Airlines A321 flight 3624 arriving from Athens. 3 hours and 7 minutes of flight at the moment. The airplane is 17 years old. First flight was in November 2005. Definitely rewind and check out those first 10 minutes. I'm not sure exactly when the... Oh yeah, I think someone already mentioned it in the chat. The time in the ticker in the bottom left corner for that 737 wheelie, was it 9:51 or 52 in the morning? I think it was. And Evelyn asks, will the live stream be online when the A380 lands? I am trying to stay until then. That is if the weather is going to stay dry and it's not going to pour in the meantime. But it looks like we're going to keep it dry at least until then. So I am intending to stick around until the Emirates A380 is going to land later. Expected in about 2 hours from now, around 1 p.m. Hello, hello, W says, good morning. Now, the next airplane to arrive is from Air Malta. Where is it coming from? Let's see. Is it Miami? No. Is it Milan? No. Malta. Interesting. Air Malta is arriving from Malta. Anyway, A320neo, flight 394, underway for 2 hours and 45 minutes. And this airplane is relatively new, 3 years old. First flight was in July 2019. And holy moly, the sun is actually coming out. How nice. Come on, focus, damn you. Hey. The KLM wheelie was 10:50 a.m. Okay, there you go. No. That is like 10 minutes ago. That can be right. Oh, 10 minutes and 10 and 50 seconds into the stream. I was looking at the actual time in the ticker in the bottom left corner. But I think, Nelly, you are talking about the duration of the stream itself. Next up, a Transavia Boeing 737-800 arriving from Mahon. Mahon. This airplane is underway now for 1 hour and 56 minutes. Where is it? There. And the airplane is 8 years old. First flight was in April 2015. And another truck will pass by. Oh, nee, Nelly. With the wheelie, I mean the nose wheel being elevated up in the sky for a long period of time, and the airplane just landing on the main landing gear for a lot of the time. Evelyn, the A380 I thought was expected to land around 5 minutes to 1 p.m. So in an hour and 55 minutes or so. Hey Scott, good morning mates. Thank you for your kind words and a good morning to you too. Now, let me have a look. What is cooking? There's an E2 Embraer 195 arriving from Oslo for center. And we'll have to wait a few more minutes for the next traffic to come to the Polderbaan. Looks like the next airplane will be a 737 arriving from Birmingham. That is near the coast and flying base. Let's have a look further out. Air Canada coming in. Play A320neo, that bright red airplane, is also coming closer by. And a 777 to Shanghai is going to fly over. Although, unfortunately, it is already above the clouds. Ordinarily, when there is good visibility, you would be able to follow it, even from its takeoff from the Kaagbaan. Now, unfortunately, you can only hear it but not see it due to the low cloud base. So E2 Embraer 195 from KLM arriving from Oslo for runway center. Okay, well, maybe they have closed the runway temporarily for a runway inspection, because that plane from Birmingham is also going to center right now. We do have a bird control pickup vehicle coming this way. Not sure if they are doing a runway check. There is a 737 arriving from Brussels, also flying base right now. Let's see if it is turning earlier and will be coming to the Polderbaan, or maybe if they are just doing a runway check right now. Let me also have a look on the weather radar in the meantime, just to see what the current situation is. Well, the app Buienradar is predicting no precipitation in the next 3 hours, so we should be good until the arrival of the A380. Fingers crossed it's going to stay that way. Now, I think this might be the 4th truck then. And the tractor has also pulled in. Think it is even Well, this is the most I can zoom in with optical zoom. Just left of that rightmost lantern, you can see that there is a gray tube that goes up, makes a curve to the left and down again. I think it might be already in that blue container, so it might be already sucking up some manure for in that yellow tank. Interesting, always something to do and to see over here. Although in the water not a whole lot is going on, but we do know by now that most of the ducks and birds are no early risers. It is awfully quiet. It does look like the 737 from Brussels is coming to the Polderbaan, so that is the good news. It will become visible in a minute. This is the 737 that is arriving from Birmingham, that I thought initially would go to Polderbaan but didn't. And Marius is saying that in Apeldoorn the sun is starting to come out. Well, if you look at Buienradar, the weather radar app that is most commonly used here in the Netherlands, you can see that the rain area over the North Sea is actually coming closer by, slowly but surely. So I'm not thinking we're going to see a whole lot of sun over here in the west. It's even going to get more dark later in the day. Although the sun did try to peek out from behind the clouds just now. At the moment it is fully overcast again. Hence why I was checking if we're going to stay dry at least until 1 p.m. because I do really want to see the arrival of the A380 if possible, but it looks like weather will permit us. Alrighty then. Boeing 737-800 from KLM flight 1724 arriving from Brussels, and that is a measly 25 minutes of flying. This airplane is 16 years old. First flight was in February 2007. Oh, and Yorkshire says, I see in the news a Delta flight had to land without its front landing gear. Where and when was that? Over here some fireworks are being set off in the distance by the Scarecrow, who is very near the end of the runway, or the beginning when used in the configuration it's being used today. Ah, nice to see the difference between the speed of sound and the speed of light. You saw the puff of smoke and you heard the bang substantially later. Let's see if we can get another one of those physics demonstrations. Well, we'll have to go back to that later. Next up, Embraer 175 arriving from Norwich. Hey Angelic, good morning. And in Charlotte yesterday, okay. Charlotte Douglas International, North Carolina, alright. Well, I'm assuming that the people on board got away unscathed, right? Probably an emergency that they practice on a regular basis, I would think. Landing without one of the gears. All safe, right? Nice. Well, E2 Embraer 195 landing on center, arriving from Manchester, and we get to see a 737 arriving from Paris Charles de Gaulle. Well, it is nice to see that the 737s of KLM are participating in the wheelie competition today. Next up, an Embraer 190 arriving from Dublin for center, and we are going to see an Iberia Express A320 arriving from Madrid. Let's see. So this would be KLM flight 934 Embraer 190 arriving from Dublin. 1 hour and 4 minutes of flying time. The airplane 13 years old. First flight March 2010. Embraer 190. Right, let's pan over to our airplane, Iberia Express A320 arriving from Madrid. So this airplane just touched down after 2 hours of flying. A320-200, 9 years old, first flight August 2013. And a nice butt shot to boot. Or a booty shot to boot, whatever you want to call it. And already, spoilers down and flaps retracted. Evelyn, have you seen that KLM 737 earlier in the morning? I am pretty sure that that is still the record holder for the wheelie today. Or did you mean 737 and did you accidentally write 777? Because it was a 737 of all airplane types that was performing the most outrageous wheelie we've seen in a while. None have come close ever since, unfortunately. But after this Embraer 190 arriving from Bristol, there is an Air Canada Dreamliner arriving. So who knows, maybe the Canadians will chime in and show us how it's done. Would be nice if the wheeling competition became a bit more international. Right, next up Air Canada flight 900. There we go. Boeing 7878 Dreamliner arriving from Montreal, YUL. Still find it hard to find logic in the abbreviations of a lot of those Canadian airports. YUL, so what? I get that Y is the country assignment for Canada, but I don't get UL. What does it have to do with Montreal? Anyway, this one is arriving from Montreal after 5 hours and 52 minutes of flying. The airplane is 9 years old. First flight was in April 2014. Let's see how it fares in terms of wheelies. Alright, that's looking close but no cigar. Definitely a competitor for runner-up of the day. Now, is it coming to Polderbound or is it going to center? Hard for me to see on flight radar. Next up is going to be the A320neo from Play, that bright red unit. It does look like it is coming this way. I do see landing lights in the distance, so I'm thinking this is our Play A320neo. There we go. Play flight 460 Airbus A320neo arriving from Reykjavik after 2 hours and 40 minutes of flying. This airplane 6 years old, first flight April 2017. And hey there Matti, goedemorgen, good morning. Welcome to the show. Hope you're doing well. And of course, welcome to all other viewers who have joined us in the meantime. You're watching AMS Live. This is the Polderbaan. My name is Boy. We're awaiting the arrival of a bright red A320neo that is from Play, which is the successor of the WOW Air. It's a reincarnation of WOW Air, or parts of it. Now, not everybody is a fan of this livery, but one thing is for sure, it is striking. and we're going to see it's behind. We're standing here, of course, directly in line with the first exit of the runway. Hey Josegi, good afternoon, good day to you, sir. Nice of you to join us again. Now, next up is an Easyjet A319 arriving from London Luton. You can see that there's a little bit of crosswind from the right for the airplanes. They are facing us a little bit, while drifting a bit to the right for us, left for them. So they are leaning in against the wind just a little bit. Easyjet flight 22515 A319, origin London Luton, destination Amsterdam Schiphol Airport. Surprise, surprise. Flight time 41 minutes. The airplane's age 16 years. Started its flying career as an airplane in September 2006. Now, if there's one airline carrier that hasn't been competing in the wheelie competition today, it is Easyjet. So far, the Airbuses of Lufthansa also haven't impressed that much in terms of wheelie performance. The showrunners have indeed been the KLMs so far, both the narrow bodies and the wide bodies. What did he do before? Well, he might have been a car, or maybe a bit of a ship. Maybe it was just or chilling in the ground, or she, or they. Right, a couple of Embraers are coming this way. An Embraer 175 from Aalborg is going to center. Embraer 190 from Stavanger going to Polderbaan. And in the middle of those runways we have a crane by the looks of it. You can see the windmills spinning in the distance. Also, let's have a look at the chimney smoke. You can see it is blowing away from us. So there is a bit of crosswind from the right for the pilots. Embraer 175 arriving from Aalborg, going to runway center. KLM flight 1330. Underway for an hour and 2 minutes, and this airplane is 5 years old. First flight was in January 2018. Meanwhile, over here at the Polderbaan, an Embraer 190 KLM flight 1198 arriving from Stavanger after an hour and 14 minutes of flying. This is an 11-year-old airplane that had its first flight in January 2012. No reversers for this Embraer. Hey ome Gerrit, goedemorgen. Good morning from nearby Rijnsburg. Now, just curious to see if a lot has changed in terms of the weather. Let's have a look on flight radar, go to the METAR and update it for you guys. Meanwhile, I can also see that there are a few bigger birds approaching. That is always good news. At the moment it is 21 degrees Celsius. The wind is blowing with 12 knots from 200, so still mostly from the south. Copy paste, adjust size of the font. There we go. Updated the ticker with the latest meter. Let's turn around the camera. Our next airplane, Embraer 175, arriving from Southampton. KLM flight 916. Departed from Southampton 45 minutes ago. It is 5 years old. First flight was in October 2017. I'm also curious to see what the expected runway usage is going to be for the upcoming hours. So let me check that in a minute. Hey Mats, good morning, goedemorgen. Good to see you. David VH01, maatje. Goedemorgen man. Good morning. Hope everybody is doing well. Over here we are having a bit of wind from the south. It is 21 degrees Celsius. It is still dry, although checking the weather radar. Oh no, that was, I thought it said it expected rain around 12:30, but that was a different, I thought there was a bump in the rain in the precipitation graph, but it was a banner. I misjudged that. It is still expected to stay dry until the expected arrival of the Emirates A380, which is also what I'm sticking around for at least. This is Easyjet arriving from Pisa, A320neo. Hey there stranger, good morning. Good to see you again, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Now, the heavy that I saw was a Musk cargo arriving from Doha by the looks of it, but it is not going to this runway. It is flying to center. Let me have a look at the website that shows the expected runway usage. Just curious to see what they are expecting in terms of runway usage for the upcoming hours. And also let's have a look at this Musk cargo Airbus A330-200 cargo airplane that is arriving from Doha. Flight 6124. Underway now from Doha, 6 hours and 45 minutes approximately. This airplane is 11 years old. First flight was in March 2012. Now in the meantime I'm trying to multitask and also check out the expected runway usage for the upcoming hours. Let's see, it is 11:30 right now. The Bezoekbus website, which is also from Air Traffic Control Netherlands, says that the expected runway usage will change in 10 minutes from now. And after that it is going to be Polderbaan and Zwanenburgbaan for arrivals. No, sorry, I misread. Until 1 o'clock only Polderbaan for arrivals and Kaagbaan and Aalsmeerbaan, so runways 24 and 18 left for departures. So if that is correct, in 10 minutes from now and at least until 1 o'clock, it means all inbound traffic will be landing on this runway where we are standing next to. If that is the case, and if the Emirates A380 is not going to get more delayed, we might see it land right in front of us, ladies and gentlemen. That's good news. That is good news indeed. Alrighty, well. Next up, Transavia flight 5676, Boeing 737-800 arriving from Ibiza after 2 hours and 5 minutes of flying. The airplane's age, 12 years, first flight February 2011. So we have green light for seeing the Emirates A380 Super in 1.5 hours from now. Both the weather looks good and the expected runway usage looks good. Fingers crossed nothing is going to interfere in the meantime. Paul is saying that a little sunshine and light coming your way. Well, really, Paul, if I zoom out, this is what I am looking at. Not exactly sunny weather by the looks of it. Which is why I was also checking the weather app to see if it is going to stay a bit more dry. Although looking more to the west, it is a bit more open. So I'm really hoping that there's no precipitation in these clouds and that it's going to blow over to the east of me before it's reaching me. Bird controller is alive. A330 also. Let's see. Ooh, nice pitch. Wheelie time. Keep it up, the nose wheel. Here we go. Here we go. Come on. It is competing for runner-up. It is still competing for runner-up. It was a nice wheelie, absolutely, but it was not as long or as impressive as the 737 that we saw earlier in the morning. However, we're going to see a KLM Airbus A330 in a minute. The one we saw just now was Delta Airlines Flight 164 arriving from Minneapolis. 20-year-old airplane. Sounded awesome. Next up, KLM Flight 767. They have a way of using airplane type flight numbers for different airplane types that are actually flying the routes. This is KLM Flight 767, but it is an Airbus A330-300 arriving from Bonaire, from the Caribbean that is, and looking at the orientation to the right, its right, our left, you would think that the crosswind is more strong and more pervasive than the METAR would have you know. It is looking like it's scrubbing a little bit, more than I would have thought it would do if you look at the wind speed and direction in the METAR. Anyway, This A330 about to touch down after 9 hours of flight, 11 years old, first flight February 2012. Let's see how it does with the landing and the wheelie. Yeah, reasonable. Definitely not bad, but definitely not the winner. Morgan Thomas, herzlich willkommen. Hope you're doing well. Now, what part of Germany are you in at the moment? We have people that are tuning in from the north, where it is also overcast, and there are people tuning in from the south near the Austrian border that have reported sunshine. Kuni can do better. Well, I'm almost inclined to say, show us what you can do, Kuni. Now, next up is another big bird, KLM flight 604, arriving from LAX, Boeing 787-10 Dreamliner. In the west, border to Luxembourg, also cloudy weather. Just the people in Bavaria who are lucky then, I guess, today. This is KLM flight 604, arriving from LAX, Boeing 787-10 Dreamliner, underway now for 9 hours 21 minutes, and this airplane had its first flight in June last year, making it just 1 year old. Mats is informing us that the weather in Denmark also changed from nice and sunny to overcast. Well, it is good for the plants and stuff. That's just if precipitation is going to fall, that is. Now, already not very high pitched, but who knows? Let's see. All right. Oh no. It looked more promising than it turned out to be. In the meantime, truck number 4 or 5 passing us by. Now, we are in luck in that another heavy is coming this way. China Southern Cargo, flight 2577. It is arriving from Chongqing, if I'm saying that correctly. It is a 777 freighter. Underway now for 10 hours and 34 minutes. The airplane is 13 years old already. Had its first flight in October 2009. Well, not a record holder wheelie, but definitely a very nice landing. En goedemorgen WD Computer, goedemorgen. Goedemorgen. Er zijn genoeg vliegtuigen, maar waar zijn de eenden? Where are the ducks? That's a very good question. They are still sleeping in, unfortunately. We did see Mama Duck and her ducklings, if you can still call them that, because they are quite big already, in the distance. I do also see some activity in the water over there, far up north. If you check in closer by, not a whole lot to be seen. Not on this side nor on the other side of the water. Let's see. We do have another airplane coming in, 737-800, KLM flight 1278, arriving from Edinburgh. 1 hour and 1 minute of flight time according to flight radar, and this airplane 22 years old. First flight was July 2000. As you guys can see over here in the water, also not a lot of activity. I'm not exactly on my own over here photo for you. It does seem that way, but there is someone over here on a bench. And also a person just walked by with a camera, taking a picture, taking a break from walking to take a picture of that triple that passed by just now. There also seems to be someone standing over there. But other than that, I do seem to be having the place for myself. On this side there are no other people that I can see. Now, A321neo arriving from Istanbul, Pegasus Air flight 1251. 3 hours and 16 minutes of flying time, and the airplane is a year old. First flight was in May last year. So this airplane just celebrated its first birthday. And no, Gerrit, I did not see the bird name. Over here on my camera I have a little 3-inch screen, so you don't see a whole lot of detail. Also, it is always very bright when you're standing out. Hey there, Ivan Barroso Melo, checking in from Carnaubal, Ceará. I totally mispronounced that, I'm sure. From Brazil, good morning my friend, welcome to the show. Hope you're doing well. We're going to see another 777 in a minute. It is preceded by an Embraer 190 arriving from Hanover, KLM flight 1904. Can we see the triple? I don't... Oh wait, we do see it. Just about. Well, not with the camera focus dance. Going to manual and using that quick infinity preset does help to quickly regain focus. Right, next up, 777-300ER arriving from Willemstad, Curaçao, Boeing 777-300ER, as I was already saying, from Willemstad, Curaçao, KLM flight 736, 8 hours and 47 minutes of flight time, now touching down. And a modest wheelie. But still a very nice landing. This airplane, by the way, 7 years old. First flight was in May 2016. Now the dark clouds have passed by, are now lying to the northeast. Over here the clouds are still covering the sun. There are some light patches here and there. The farmer is still busy with his tractor. Not sure what he is doing, because it doesn't look like he's using the machine, or at least not the appendix that is behind it, behind the tank. Next up is going to be a Transavia 737-800 arriving from Verona. So another Embraer 190, and after that another 777 arriving from Vancouver. Hey Greet, goedemiddag. Almost afternoon. Embraer 190 arriving from Cardiff, flight 1060. Embraer 190, 14 years old, first flight April 2009, and this airplane is underway now for 58 minutes. Alright, next airplane, 777. Here we go. The wind seems to be picking up a little bit. KLM flight 682, this is. Boeing 777-300ER arriving from Vancouver, Canada. 8 hours and 32 minutes of flight time. The airplane is 8 years old. Its first flight was in February of the year 2015. Come on. It's like they're trying, but only half-heartedly. Now, we do have a line forming of inbound traffic, so it does seem that the prediction that center would close again has come true. And the expectation is that until 1 p.m. Polderbaan is going to be the only runway for arrivals. Our friend Russell the Crow, also a bit camera shy, sharing that with Grebes that are also a bit camera shy. I'm noticing that the footage is starting to get a bit more shaky. Let me see if enabling image stabilizer mitigates it a little bit. Obviously need focus then. Well, there's a whole slew of airplanes coming. Next up is going to be KLM flight 1008. Boeing 737-800 arriving from London Heathrow. 44 minutes of flying, and this airplane is 24 years old already. Its first flight was in January 1999. And hey Lois Aviation, thank you for your kind words. If the weather radar is correct, we are going to stay dry at least until the A380 has landed in an hour or so from now. So we should be good over here. Hey. Oh no. For a minute there I was thinking maybe we're going to see another long wheelie from a 737. But no luck. Now it's time for two consecutive Embraers. An Embraer 190 will be first and an Embraer 175 will come second. The Embraer 190 is arriving from London City. KLM flight 984 underway now for 41 minutes. This airplane 7 years old, first flight November 2015. You can tell that the wind is picking up a little bit. also by the airplane's behavior as it is descending. That is a nice high pitch. Let's see. But no wheelie of significance, unfortunately. Now, if you just tuned in, welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boy and we are standing next to the Polderbaan, a runway 18 right. At the moment, the only runway in use for arrivals. As you can see, we're also standing in line with the first exit of the runway, giving us nice butt shots like these. As you guys can see, it is overcast over here, no precipitation, but we have precipitation in the weather forecast for this afternoon, so it is still dry for the time being, but it is going to rain later. Wind is blowing from the southwest. These airplanes are arriving from the north and landing to the south, so faced with a little bit of crosswind from the right for the airplanes, as you guys can see. This is an Embraer 175 arriving from Darlington, KLM flight 1534. The airplane left Darlington 55 minutes ago. She's 6 years old. First flight was in February 2017. Also doing a little bit of rehydration over here. Two Embraer 190s are arriving, one from Leeds and the other one from Berlin. This one is arriving from Berlin. And we all know this little airplane, the DAPRI Live Chocolate Livery Special. German Airways flying for KLM. 15 years old, first flight January 2008, if I recall correctly. Oh, we're going to see 3 consecutive Embraer 190s. This was German Airways, next up KLM, after that Speedbird arriving from London City. So if you are a big fan of Embraer 190s, this is your moment. Indeed, the Embraer parade is on. KLM flight 1543, Embraer 190, you guessed it, arriving from Leeds, United Kingdom. Oh, It's going to get even better. 4 consecutive Embraer 190s. I'm seeing another one from KLM arriving after the Speedbird, arriving from Glasgow. There we go. In the meantime, Mike Wild, good morning, checking in from Warrington, United Kingdom. Hope you're doing well, mate. Welcome to the show. What's the weather like over there in Warrington? Hey Tim, goedemiddag. Net middag geworden, just became afternoon, 2 minutes past 12. So that means that if all is well, Polderbaan will stay the only runway for arrivals until 1 o'clock, so still an hour of exclusive arrivals on this runway. BA City Flyer arriving from London City. Hi Richard, goedemiddag. Now folks, it is Embraer Parade, as Stranger called it aptly just now. While we are waiting for heavies, we still have a few more Embraers to digest. There is a 777 arriving from Canada, Air Canada flight 808, now flying in the vicinity of Castricum. So we will get a bit more variation shortly, but it's going to take a few more minutes. A few more Embraers to digest. Here another German Airways. And I think I'm also going to disengage the image stabilizer. It has its use, but I don't think that it is doing more good than harm right now. So I have it disengaged right now. And Mike is informing us that the weather is sun and cloudy in Warrington and a cooler 20°C, has been upwards of 30°C for many past weeks. So that's a very welcome temperature drop. Well, over here it is 20°C, but it is, well, 21 right now, I think. Last time I checked the METAR. Land inward, we can see highs of 25 degrees Celsius later today. We're also expecting rain that is arriving from the west, and in fact, if I look to the west right now, I do believe I see the beginning of that area lying further out. It is darker, might also be just because of the lighting, although in the early afternoon we are expecting precipitation over here, hence why I went out for an early stream with hopes of being able to capture the arrival of the A380 later, and it seems like we will be able to do that. We might even see it on this very runway, as the Emirates A388 is expected to arrive just before 1 PM local time, so within the hour. And the website that is displaying the expected runway usage was mentioning Polderbaan, this runway where we are standing next to, being the only runway in use for arrivals, at least until 1 p.m. So fingers crossed that the Emirates pilots are keeping up the speed, so that we might see it land up close here on the Polderbaan. Now I think this is going to be the last Emirates before we're going to see a heavy. Another German Airways flying for KLM, flight 1986, Embraer 190, arriving from Basel. This airplane is underway now for an hour and 6 minutes, and the airplane's age is 14 years. So even though it is overcast right now, it is actually not cold, although the wind has picked up. Generally coming from south-southwest. Last time I checked the meter, the wind was coming from 200 degrees, so that is almost south-southwest. And Jackie is back in town. Welcome back then. Just in time for another heavy. Air Canada flight 808, Boeing 777-200 long range, arriving from Toronto, YYZ. Oh, 6 hours and 20 minutes of flight time. And a modest wheelie. This airplane, by the way, 15 years old, first flight January 2008. Now, unfortunately, it was just an exception to the rule because the Embraers are continuing on their way in. Let's have a look, see what is coming in. Okay, 777 from Panama City over the North Sea. On its way, 777 arriving from Guayaquil, also over the North Sea. In Belgium, not much going on. Germany, this is all outbound. Let's filter on just inbound for a minute. Okay, not much in terms of heavies. The heavies nearby are arriving from the west, it seems like. So while waiting for the A380, we have to make do with a lot more narrow bodies. Maybe it is better to initiate the image stabilizer with the wind picking up. Hopefully this mitigates the vibrations a little bit from the wind. Next up, Embraer 190 arriving from Luxembourg, a very short flight. KLM flight 1740. Underway now for 43 minutes. This Embraer 190 is 5 years old. First flight was in February 2018. And Maurice has the same weather in Roermond as we do over here in the west. Overcast, and every now and then the sun is making an effort to get out from behind the clouds. Although thus far over here with moderate success. Alright, so now the tractor does have its the appendix behind that tank down. So it is in fact spreading manure, which I thought I could smell from over here. The wind is of course blowing from that tractor to me, more or less. Which reminds me that I still have to watch the second season of Clarkson's Farm. Always nice to see something going on over here. Embraer number a whole lot. Yeah, indeed, Roy. Shit show, shitstorm. Absolutely. You can say what you want, but it doesn't smell fishy. Bird controller is pedaling back and forth over the runway area, or next to the runway area. We are indeed, Lois. It's a good thing that it is not a live stream with smell, because I think it would not attract a whole lot of new folks. Well, we are expecting something else, something other than an Embraer. It is in fact a Boeing 737-700, the smallest of the family, KLM flight 1620, a 14-year-old airplane that is arriving from Milan. Now underway for an hour and 21 minutes. You can see that it is facing us directly, so the crosswind component is probably a bit more severe than you would have thought based on the wind that you see being mentioned in the ticker. Huh. I agree, Roy. I would have thought it was longer. You'd almost think that something went wrong over at YouTube or something. Nonetheless, thank you so much for your ongoing support there, my friend. But I'm pretty sure it's longer than 2 months already. Didn't we? Nah, I'm pretty sure it must be. I agree, it feels like it's longer already. Oh, we have something else than trucks coming this way. Let's have a look and see what it is. Not police vehicles. Right, well. No idea what they got, what those guys were doing. Probably builders or something. The next airplane to arrive is going to be a 777-300 ER arriving from Panama City. In the meantime, also a very big thank you, Roy, for a little something to cover your expenses. Great job, boy. Thank you so much, Roy, for your ongoing support. I really appreciate it, and it's people like you who make this such a great community. So thank you so much for your ongoing support there, Roy. And yeah, I'm pretty sure you were already following from the very beginning, I think almost. But YouTube is quirky every now and then. I did recently also hear from people that did not get notifications, even though they had notifications turned on when I went live for a new stream. And people were saying in the chat, oh, I didn't get a notification. And apparently it had to do with settings or something, not sure. But YouTube is quirky now and then. Now, let's see. We're still waiting for that 777 arriving from Panama City. It is not visible yet visually, so I cannot show you anything on the video just yet. We did just see a bird control vehicle speeding by, going to the northern threshold of the runway. The clouds are, well, impressive is not the right word. You do see that they open up, or there are some openings in between them. Right now as well, you can maybe see that the sun is indeed trying to poke through one of those holes. Now you might also have heard a bang just now. Let me see if I can find that vehicle again. Oh, and that's the overshoot of the image stabilizer. It's in the middle, really far out. I was hoping we could see a physics demonstration where they set off some fireworks and we could see the difference between the speed of light and the speed of sound. However, well, I have image stabilizer activated again. Still in doubt whether it is an overall improvement to the image quality. It seems that the vibrations are reduced a little bit, but as you guys saw earlier, it is sometimes a bit slow or overshoots when you make movements. KLM flight 758 arriving from Panama City, 777-300 ER. Hey there, Cafe Spotter, good morning, good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. Well, and anyone using the restroom at the time, well, is doing something that is not allowed, but even if somebody were hiding in the restroom at the time of landing, they probably would have got shaken up quite heavily. Okay, we're going to see a little bit of variation again, not only Embraers. This time round, first up is going to be a Boeing 737-800 from Transavia, arriving from Malaga. 2 hours and 22 minutes of flight time according to flight radar. Let me see if I can show you guys. Oh yeah, there it is. Transavia flight 6114. 2 hours 23 minutes underway. 12 years old, this airplane. First flight was in July 2010. As you can see, image stabilizer does not fully mitigate vibrations caused by the wind, which is why I was using it with the intention of mitigating that. This is dynamic image stabilizer. There's also something like standard image stabilizer. Let me switch to that, see if that makes a difference. There we go. Luckily, just a matter of pressing a few buttons and menu items. Our next airplane is an Embraer, no. Force of habit. Not an Embraer, it is a Vueling Airbus A320 arriving from Barcelona. There she is, flight 8309, underway now for 1 hour and 43 minutes, which sounds short to me. A320-200, 9 years old, first flight May 2014, Vueling flight 8309 arriving from Barcelona. Now, unfortunately, due to the clouds, we cannot see too far away in advance. Otherwise, we might have already seen the 777-200 arriving from Guayaquil. That is also now on the glide slope. do get a nice butt shot over here. See the spoilers go down and the flaps up, hopefully. Well, at least the spoilers. I'm actually pretty okay with the livery. It's just that Kathleen is a very big enthusiast. And I can be quite reactive and say the opposite just to elicit a reaction. Anyway, here is KLM flight 755, Boeing 777-200, arriving from Guayaquil. It is a 777-200ER, underway for 11 hours and 5 minutes, almost half a day, ladies and gentlemen. I think I still needed to go to bed 11 hours ago. No, I was already in bed by then. Airplane is 17 years old. First flight March 2006. Let's see how it does in terms of a wheelie creation. Yeah, I'm not happy with what image stabilizer is doing to the footage. I'm disengaging it again. There's a place for it when it's really stormy, but I don't think that the wind is hard enough to warrant its use right now. And Aphrodite is saying that on flight radar the plane from Dubai to Amsterdam is just above the name Germany. Oh, that's nice. That's a nice way of describing it. Let me see where it is then. Oh yeah, in the vicinity of Kassel and Göttingen. So let's see. Expected in 35 minutes according to flight radar, so that makes 1:05. Hopefully they can make up on some lost time. If it is arriving 5 minutes, if it's landing 5 minutes past 1, there's a very big chance it's going to land on runway 18 center. Right, next up, LOT, Polish Airlines, arriving from Warsaw. Embraer 175. Flight 263. Now touching down after an hour and 40 minutes of flight time. And believe it or not, the airplane 17 years old already. First flight March 2006. Showing us it's behind. Next up, Transavia flight 6338, Boeing 737-800, arriving from Valencia. 2 hours of flight time. The airplane 6 years old. First flight March 2017. As you guys can see in the water, other than a few ripples from the wind, in terms of wildlife, a bit dull. We did see a few quackers earlier in the stream, but that was the only time that they showed themselves. Next up is an Easyjet A319 flight 23301 arriving from Edinburgh after an hour and 6 minutes of flight. 17-year-old airplane, first flight June 2006. And Gerrit likes it a lot, the lot airplane. You can definitely see that there is a little bit of crosswind for the pilots. They are... Oh, and that was even a little bit shaky during the touchdown. Queazyjet, yeah. The nickname Queazyjet, Sleazyjet. They kind of stuck. Bird controller in the vicinity of the Sleazyjet, Queazyjet. And if they don't put the heating on, Freezyjet. And if Kanye West is in it, Jeezyjet. Or Yeezy. Well, the engines being flat on at the bottom has to do with the 737 being very low to the ground to begin with. It has a less high landing gear than, for instance, the A320. I think they are actually the same engines, aren't they? Both CF56s. Anyway, so they did have to flatten the engine casings for the 737 just because it is so low to the ground. In the meantime, I'm already seeing that there is an Embraer 190 arriving from Prague that is going to runway center. That is not good news because it means they apparently already opened center and have not waited until 1 o'clock. If this is a permanent change, then it's not likely to change within 30 minutes from now, so that makes the probability of the Emirates A380 going to center much higher. Embraer 190 arriving from Prague, now going to center. So that's not good news. In the meantime, good morning, Swamp Fuel 20, who is tuning in from toasty Atlanta. Welcome to the show, my friend. Hope you're enjoying yourself. All other viewers who are new to the channel and are enjoying themselves as well, welcome, first of all. And second of all, if you are liking what you're seeing, consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. You'll help me reach more people like you and me, also into aviation content such as this. And this is a somewhat atypical TUI livery, a bit bare compared to what we normally see, but that is because it is operated by SmartLynx Estonia, so they probably just put the logos on to differentiate it from other SmartLynx all white, or somebody coined it, wedding dress livery. Now let me also have a look on the weather radar. Zooming out, showing you the southwest where the wind is coming from, and showing you the west. You can see things are a bit more dark out there. I'm hoping we're going to stay dry until the arrival of the A380, regardless of whether it is coming to this runway or to center. Hey there Mo, good day to you, sir. Good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. 737-700 arriving from Newcastle. So these mofos already reopened center with this triple arriving from Atlanta. Normally speaking would go to Polderbaan, as it is arriving from the west. For some reason they have said let's go to center, even though looking out there is traffic still coming here. So I don't know why this airplane was redirected to center. Now I am just checking the weather. Let's look at the loop of the past hour. Okay, I do see some shower formation here and there. It's probably not going to be very much. Also, still 25 minutes or so until the A380. Hopefully we'll keep it dry until then. But the atmosphere is becoming somewhat more unstable. Now I'm also seeing that the heavies are being directed to center for some reason. Let's see. So all the heavies seem to be redirected to center, and all the narrow bodies are now coming this way. Let's see. That doesn't bode well. Indeed, they are always opening up center if Emirates is coming. Now there's an A330neo arriving from Seattle that is now flying to center. I don't have it visually just yet. I think maybe it is still in the clouds. Over here, a Vueling A320 arriving from Alicante. Vueling flight 1377, A320 arriving from Alicante. 2 hours and 12 minutes of flight time. The airplane is 15 years old, first flight February 2008. And here's the A330neo going to center, arriving from Seattle. And over here an A321 arriving from London Gatwick, BA flight 2826. Not sure why they are redirecting the heavies to center and leave the narrow bodies to the polar baan. As you guys can tell, the wind is picking up a little bit. This A321 arriving from London Gatwick, 18 years old, first flight, September 2004. Landings get a little bit more bumpy, as you guys can see. So, where is... Aphrodite just thinking what I was wondering, just mentioning what I was wondering. The A380 from Dubai is crossing the Dutch border. Okay, so still 20 minutes or so out then. In the meantime, 777-200 arriving from Lima for center. And yes, stranger, most of the time I do go out in the mornings, and particularly on a Friday, because I always want to go to the gym around the end of the day, beginning of the evening. And if I go out later, I'm not able to make that. And I have been ignoring going to the gym a little too often lately, so need to set my priorities. So if I do go out tomorrow, and I think the weather tomorrow is going to be alright, it is probably going to be an AM stream again, like today. And Yis is checking in from Almelo, the east of the country, where the A380 is now passing over. Excellent. In the meantime, Embraers to both center and right are underway. We're going to see BA City Flyer arriving from London City, Embraer 190, and to the other runway is an Embraer 175 underway, arriving from Frankfurt. Let's focus on the airplane coming to us. So BA City Flyer, flight 8489, Embraer 190, arriving from London City, where it left 37 minutes ago. The airplane is 13 years old, first flight was in February 2010. Definitely leaning into the wind a bit more than during the beginning of the stream, the airplanes. but hopefully no crackling right now with the new mic. If I still had the Rode video mic attached to my camera, it would have probably made an awful lot of crackling by now. Definitely a major improvement. Really happy with that. Yeah, the landings are getting a bit more rough as well. And Timon says, respect that you're still streaming. How long are you going to continue to stream? Well, I'm waiting for the Emirates A380. It is expected in 15 minutes or so, and I think that is going to be the last airplane of the day. Particularly if it is going to land on the runway center, as most of the heavies have been doing now for the last 10 minutes or so. All the interesting planes are far away. Typical air traffic control. They really are screwing with us. And Stranger asks, how old is AMS Live? Well, I first started the channel, I think in October, and I then first did testing and stuff. So the first live stream was end of November, I think. I think it was in the last days of November. Okay, and the A380 is landing on center. Timon just checked. That is very unfortunate. We do get to see some heavies, luckily, up close. Aero Mexico flight 25 is arriving right now from Mexico City. Boeing 7878 Dreamliner. After 9 hours and 56 minutes of flight, this 9-year-old airplane is touching down in a few moments. Always nice to see when the flex is there, and then when the spoilers go up, it's gone. Still waiting for that. Still waiting for that nice Queazyjet special livery from Aero Mexico to come to Amsterdam again. I did see it in real life when I was going to stream, but I was still walking to my location and still had to set up, so I wasn't able to film it. But it would be nice to see that on the stream again. Or at least on the stream, period. Now, let's see. Ooh, looks like a 767 from Icelandair is arriving. Now, hopefully they are not going to send it to center. I have to say, with the wind picking up, I am glad that I did bring a vest along today, because where it was too warm earlier, now it feels almost too thin. I think the air temperature is also decreasing a little bit with the precipitation getting closer by. Transavia going to center, arriving from Santorini. JTR is Santorini. Okay. That makes almost less sense than the Canadian airport abbreviations. Now, generally speaking, it is still overcast here, as you guys can see. Pointing the camera to the south, doesn't look a whole lot different from the other directions. The wind is coming from the south-southwest, so approximately from over there. Now earlier it looked a bit dark, then it looked a bit more open. Now it is in between again. Hard to gauge if it's going to rain anytime soon or not, but by the looks of it and also what the weather radar was saying, it is expected to stay dry for a while longer. Although you never know when showers are forming, they form out of the blue, and that's hard to predict with the weather radar. We're waiting for the next air traffic for either runway. Looks like an Easyjet A319 will arrive for center first, originating from Dubrovnik. That's Croatia, isn't it? Let's see. I don't see it visually yet. The cloud base is relatively low, and I think that the airplane is still in the clouds or just above it. Jolande is informing us that the Emirates is now heading for Dronten, so it is in the country. Marius was saying earlier that it was already at Raalte. Let me also have a look on flight radar. Oh, damn it. They are redirecting they are directing the 767 also to the center runway. They really are screwing with us today. Now, unfortunately, there's no doubt in my mind that with both runways open, the A380 is not going to land on Polderbaan. But like this Easyjet will be landing on 18 center. Saudia Dreamliner also coming this way, just a bit ahead of the Emirates A380. Now next up for center is going to be the Icelandair 767-300ER arriving from Reykjavik. 2.5 hours of flight. The airplane 25 years old. First flight was October 1997. Just about coming through the clouds over there. And yes, Timon, of course, is Saudia also going to go to center? Just happy that there's a decent zoom on this camera so that at least we can see something of it. Although, of course, you don't get to hear it as well as you would when it is landing on the Polderbaan. Now, in the meantime, two A320s are coming to the Polderbaan. One from Air France, the other from Vueling. Alright, Dave. Your timing is very We are expecting the A380 in 5 minutes or so, but if you really need to go right now, then do go. Thanks for joining again, and enjoy your long holiday weekend and enjoy the beach. Make sure you use sunscreen when you go out. And we'll see each other again sometime soon, undoubtedly. Over here we have Air France flight 1640 A320 arriving from Paris Charles de Gaulle. Short flight, 43 minutes. "15-year-old airplane. First flight February 2008. Alright, interesting. Maurits says, I think the A380 will land on 18 right because of the minimum spacing between the Saudia and the A380. That is a very interesting opinion. I hope you are right. I really hope you are right. Sunscreen and lots of cold beer. That sounds like the perfect combination for going to the beach, Dave. Enjoy, and we'll see each other again soon. Now, over here, the second A320 consecutive. This one from Vueling, flight 8353, arriving from Valencia. 2 hours and 2 minutes of flight time. The airplane is 8 years old. First flight was in April 2015. The Air Transat A321neo, by the looks of it, is going to center at least. Next up over here is a Boeing 737 MAX 8 arriving from Zakynthos, flight 234. And an Embraer 190 arriving from Kristiansand for center. Was too far ahead of it already. And Mr. Ozas, good day. Still in the bus, just coming home from school. And Yolanda is informing us that the A380 is now close to Purmerend. So I should be able to see it on my little bit of flight radar. Using a split screen on my mobile phone, for those of you who didn't know yet. On the bottom half I have the live chat in my browser. In the top half I have flight radar. So I'm only seeing a very small postage stamp of both. So this is the TUI MAX 8 arriving from Zakynthos. In a more familiar TUI livery. And Maurits unfortunately was wrong. Damn, it was a good theory. The reasoning behind your opinion was very well thought out. Still, ATC doesn't give a you know what. Here's the Air Transat A321neo arriving from Toronto. And goedemiddag Rolf. And thank you for your kind words there, Mr. Ozos. We'll definitely try to keep it up. A321neo, Air Transat, transatlantic flight. Going to center. Now, over here, Easyjet A320neo arriving from Palma de Mallorca. And the Saudia Dreamliner from Jeddah is next on center. So this is Easyjet flight 27888 A320neo arriving from Palma de Mallorca. In flight time 2 hours 4 minutes. And this airplane is brand new. First flight was in December last year. So it's still in its warranty. You're absolutely right, Eric. It does sometimes look like ATC is doing this on purpose. You mother... Anyway, just coming out from the clouds is the Saudia Dreamliner arriving from Jeddah. Saudia flight 215, Boeing 7879 Dreamliner arriving from Jeddah after 5 hours and 29 minutes of flying. It is a 7-year-old airplane. Its first flight was in April 2016. Alrighty, well, there's an Embraer 170 from Air France Op arriving from Marseille that is coming over here, but simultaneously the A380 is arriving on center, so I'm going to forgo the Embraer. We're waiting for the Emirates A380 to come out from under the clouds. There it is. I think I see it. Am I too far? No, there it is. Alright, so just popped under the cloud base. Today's Emirates A380 Super. Standard livery, flight 147 arriving from Dubai after 6 hours and 36 minutes of flight time. This airplane is 9 years old. First flight was in April 2014. And a little photo bomb moment from Air France. Now, almost at the other side of the runway. Just checking what is out there. I want to see what the A330 from Delta Airlines is doing. If it is coming this way, I'm going to stick around for it. We've only seen narrow bodies over here. I think we are still due for some heavies. For those of you who have to leave, thank you so much for joining. I'm just checking what the Delta A330 arriving from Detroit is going to do. It has all the... It looks indeed like it is going to land on Polderbaan. So there is still heavy traffic coming this way. I'm happy to report. And in the meantime, thank you so much, stranger, for a super. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much for that, my friend. A super for a super. Well, looks like Delta Airlines flight 136 is coming this way. That is good news. That is good news. In the meantime, Ryanair is just touching down. 737 MAX 8. Arriving from Dublin. Hey, Kathleen. I didn't know you were there. All of a sudden, I see all kinds of people getting memberships gifted by Kathleen. Were you lurking in Lurkers Lounge? Thank you so much for your generous donation there, Kathleen. Also, what's up with the silent treatment? Man, and in the nip of time, I was thinking about closing the stream after the A380, but I figured I want to close the stream, wrap it up with a heavy on this runway and not in the distance. Oh, you were only here since the A380. Okay, well, well, you saw it. They all directed the heavies that were arriving from the west to runway center, even though the Polderbaan has been open all the time. They really have been bugging us. Now I am going to wrap it up after the Delta Airlines flight 136. It is going to rain later in the afternoon. I am out here for almost 4 hours already. Tomorrow is another day. The weather is also better, according to the weather forecast. Well, Kathleen, thank you once again so much for your generosity for donating 10 memberships. That is really above and beyond. Embraer 190 arriving from Toulouse, KLM flight 1302. And Evelyn, I think I am going to start somewhere between 9 and 9:30 a.m. local time. Similar to this morning. Also, Yolanda, thank you so much for your kind super sticker. Video game controller giving a thumbs up and says GG. Thank you so much for that, Yolanda. Also, Kathleen, do look back the first 15 minutes of the stream. The very first airplane of today's stream is a looker, special livery that you don't see very often. I will also timestamp a very lengthy and very impressive wheelie that a Boeing 737 from KLM did earlier in the morning. Also very much worth looking back, but definitely also look at the first 10 or 15 minutes. We had the first Queen arrive, and the very first airplane of the stream was a very beautiful special livery, which when I'm coming home will probably make into the thumbnail for today's stream. And as Evelyn was saying, the wheelie took place at 9:52 a.m. So that is definitely very impressive. And no, Eric, I'm not going to be here tonight. Bring a good spotlight. Well, I did do some testing yesterday evening, because with overriding the autofocus, putting it in manual, and also with a sort of sort of preset to infinity, I can switch between autofocus and manual focus very quickly. Might even be able to do some streaming in twilight and evening conditions with that, even though the footage might be a bit grainy due to the low light conditions then. So maybe in the nearby future something to look forward to. Right. Another Dreamliner coming in after 2 narrow bodies, eh? Well, since it is still dry and it doesn't look like it's going to rain in the next 15 minutes or so, let me just stick around until then. The Dreamliner arriving from Toronto will be the very last airplane of the day. Now number 3. Over here, number 1 is an Embraer 190 KLM flight 1456 arriving from Nantes. After an hour and 7 minutes of flying, now touching down. 13 years old, first flight July 2009. And yeah, the wind is picking up, and so too does the crabbing. Now the penultimate airplane of the day is going to be KLM flight 1666, Boeing 737-800 arriving from Barcelona. There it is. Underway now for an hour and 47 minutes. She's 23 years old. First flight was in August 1999. Now currently the wind is blowing from the south-southwest. So even though the airplanes are crabbing a little bit, on paper they should be facing mostly headwind, but I do get the impression that the wind has changed a little bit more to the southwest instead of south-southwest. Right, ladies and gentlemen, last airplane of the day. This time around, officially the last airplane. Although I don't have it visual yet, it's still in the clouds. KLM Flight 696, Boeing 7879 Dreamliner arriving from Toronto, Canada. 6 hours and 10 minutes underway now. Just coming through the clouds. There we go. This Dreamliner is 5 years old. Had its first flight in January 2018. Look at that, the wheelie competition has another competitor. Although I don't think it is beating the 737 that we saw earlier. I think that is the winner of the day. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to wrap it up for today. I want to thank each and every one of you who is still left, because I think a lot have left after the A380 has landed. Thank you all so much for joining me. I hope you guys had as much fun as I did. Thanks to everyone who was so kind to donate memberships or super chats or super stickers or super likes or whatever. You guys are the best. I hope I will see you guys again during the next stream. I'm looking to go out again tomorrow morning, weather permitting, but it looks like it's going to be a nice sunny day tomorrow. For those of you whose day has just begun, have a nice day. For those of you whose day has already passed, have a nice evening. Be safe, and I will see you all again, hopefully very soon. And I'm going to say bye for now, and thanks for watching.